What is going on, herd? Welcome back to the channel and thanks for tuning in to another video. Today is that video, the most demanded and anticipated video over the past 10 months that I have gotten from my fan base, but I've been holding out. I knew GTA was eventually going to give us something worth putting into this list. Yes, the list of the top 10 drift cars in GTA Online. I'll ask of you guys, if you do enjoy what you see, leave me a thumbs up, maybe a positive comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Also, you can check out my Patreon channel. We're going to be releasing a Patreon private series as we come up. It's not going to be anything too crazy, but it is certainly something worth noting that you may want to get involved with. Every dollar donated through Patreon will go into bettering this channel. With all that said, let's get into the real action of tonight's video. Thank you all for tuning in. Hope you all enjoy. Coming in at number 10 on tonight's list is the Karen 190Z. And this is actually the car that held all of you up from getting this video at a much earlier time, so you can thank this vehicle for that. Now on the contrary, this vehicle did make it into the list, so at least we waited for something. However, it was not an easy make. That 10th spot was a battle between numerous vehicles, and coming out victorious is the Karen 190Z. Now this isn't your traditional drift car. It feels a little bit different when you get into it. The speed boost, it doesn't last quite as long as the other vehicles. It is quite controlled, however. There's a lot of customizations. The car actually fits within the drifting realm as well, let's be real. And you can link a track once you do figure out what the heck the car wants you to do. I wouldn't necessarily go out on the cracked limb and say it's a very responsive car with the speed boost. However, it is a drift vehicle. Now the Karen 190Z is a sports classics vehicle of which the base price on it is $900,000. After you put in the upgrades, you're probably looking at right around 1.3 million, guys. So this one does get to be quite expensive, and maybe one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive on the list. Coming up at number 9 is the Ster Fusillade. This car is very interesting. It's a slick little bugger, it definitely is. It likes to spin out on you. It's got a very, how do I say it without ticking off the trolls out there? The center of gravity or something. It just likes to spin out, very, very much so. And I feel like it's the front wheels are just close to the back wheels. It's a very small square instead of a longer rectangle. It's a little bit more difficult. It's a lot. Well, it just spins out very easy. Now the Ster Fusillade, once you get your tune, maybe that be without a turbo, maybe that be with a spoiler, maybe that be a certain tire compound. Oh, Black Sheep tire compound don't matter. Oh yeah, I forgot, you're the expert, that's right. Now the Fusillade falls into the sports category, and the stock price on it, if you do choose to buy it, is $36,000, but you know me, I'm going to suggest you go out there and find it on the street for free. Coming in at number 8 on the list is the DeClasse Vigero. The DeClasse Vigero is the first muscle car on tonight's list, coming in at $21,000 base price. But again, I suggest you go out and find this on the street for free. Make a list of vehicles that you want to go get, and as you see them, pick them up and cross them off your list. The Vigero is the opposite of the prior number 9, the Fusillade. It's slower, it's a bit more cumbersome in ways, it's a lot more controlled, but you're still going to have the power to link a good drift track and have a good time in this car. You don't see a lot of Vigeros out there in the drift community, so it's always fun to bring something new and fresh to the table and get a new vehicle out there. I will say the one complaint I do have with the Vigero is just the responsiveness with the speed boost. It could be a lot better in my book, and just with the best of the lineup here coming in. Which brings us into number 7 on the list tonight, the Bravado Redwood Gauntlet. Not just simply the Gauntlet, the Redwood Gauntlet. This is the race version. It's been given a little oomph behind it, alright? A little bit extra under the hood. And that's going to help you guys get around those drift corners a little bit better. Now this car is kind of like taking the Fusillade and the Vigero and mixing them together. You're going to take that better controllability and better handling line of the Vigero, but you're going to take that power and speed from the Fusillade and put it in there. And now you're kind of left with this Redwood Gauntlet. Now the Redwood Gauntlet is a muscle vehicle. They want $250,000 for it in the game online. And no, the regular Gauntlet does not have the same handling. It's very, very similar, but it's not quite the same. The Redwood Gauntlet and the Gauntlet are two different vehicles as far as I'm concerned, and the Gauntlet did not make tonight's list. Gauntlet will bring you up into your next level of drifting. It'll get you going around those corners at a higher speed, but still having the controllability of starting to get you up into some of these higher vehicles on the list. Something that you might be saying, well, all I do is spin out when I get into these vehicles. This Redwood Gauntlet may be your ticket or your first step in getting up into those vehicles. And that comes in at number 6, the Willard Faction. Another muscle car, and at $36,000, it is pretty cheap. And yes, you do have to buy it. You can't go out and steal it off the street, but that's okay. $36,000, we can all do a mission or two to go get this bad boy. Now, here's the biggest thing, is you do not have to do the upgrades, and I actually prefer that you don't do the upgrades if you want the best drifting line, the best drifting, drift handling for the Faction. Don't do the donk upgrade, don't do the custom upgrade. Just simply keep it your base model at $36,000, throw the upgrades on it to make it drift spec, and you'll be good to go. Now I have the one complaint, and that's really the speed with this thing. It's probably the slowest drift car. It allows you to think like 5 seconds before you set up into your next run. You know, side to side motion. It's very slow and just very delayed, you know, and that's why you don't see it on my channel much. It's just beaten out by too many vehicles, in my opinion. However, it's a very consistent vehicle. It's a great stepping stone for beginner drifters, and it did make it all the way up to number 6 on the list here of top 10 drift cars in GTA Online. Now, moving up in the top 5 list, we're getting into some heavy hitters. Number 5, the Lampadati Viserys. This is the second sports classic vehicle to make the list tonight, and at $875,000 base price, you're getting up there in that final cost. This thing does have a number of good upgrades, and this thing, I am going to say it, it is the slickest car in GTA Online. Now, I'm not talking aesthetics. What I'm talking about is handling. This thing is like it's gliding on butter, alright? We're skating on a rink of ice everywhere we go in this thing. Once you stance it, that is. The thing is very slippery. Abnormally slippery. By far the most slippery in the game. However, the thing has a crazy amount of power, and once you throw a little bit of power in coincidence with that slipperiness, you go spinning out in donuts. So this one's another one of those weird ones like the Fusillade that you're really going to want to figure out what you like and what you don't like. Run a turbo, don't run a turbo. Do I run a spoiler, do I not do one? That's up to you guys. Do what you like. You drift a little bit different than I do. We're all going to drift slightly different, although we use the same technique. Now, number 4 on the list really came in hand with the Viserys. That last one, number 5. It was a real big... But really, in the end, I do feel completely comfortable with giving number 4 to the Benefactor Schwarzer. The Benefactor Schwarzer is the second most slipperiest, slickest, as the term I just used, vehicle in GTA Online. However, it's substantially more controllable than the Viserys. Now, the Viserys is going to drift substantially faster than the Schwarzer, but there's a reason the Schwarzer is up here. This is the great vehicle for everybody to get into when you're getting into the speed boost, the faster method of drifting in GTA Online, where you're really trying to test your skill. This is the vehicle that a lot of us, or pretty much all of us, have found ourselves really practicing away in. The Schwarzer is very cheap, very affordable. It is a sports vehicle, and it comes in at $80,000, but this is the last one that you can go pick up on the street on the list. This one's difficult to find. I wouldn't say difficult, that's probably not the accurate term, but it's more difficult than the other ones on this list to find. It only spawns with a certain spawn set, and you need to get that spawn set to spawn to find the car. $80,000 is your way around that. You can pay for the vehicle through Southern San Andreas Super Autos. The car is very controllable, it has a great drift, it's really easy to link lines, and there's not a lot to say about it because all you guys know this, right? Now let's bring you into something maybe you don't know, and that's number 3 on the list. The Feister Comet Retro Custom. So yes, this is the Comet Retro, which means you're going to have to get the basic Feister Comet for the $100,000. You're going to have to bring it over to your boy Benny. He's going to have to put that $645,000 upgrade on it, and you just spent $745,000 for your Comet Retro. Now this is another one like the Karen 190Z that actually fits in to the drift scene. all these other vehicles like the Mercedes-Benz, and a lot of these vehicles, the Fusillade, the Vigero, the Gauntlet, those aren't drift cars in real world. You're not going to see the equivalents of those or traditionally on a drift track. One of the old retro Porsches, I've literally seen some on YouTube drifting away. So this one's a really cool one just for kind of nostalgia in a way. You're kind of representing something that is relevant in the real world to drifting. Now here's the best thing, it actually drifts and drifts substantially well. Coming in at number 3 here, you can see very controllable, very responsive on the speed boost, quick at drifting, it's not a slow drifter, very rapid on the side to side. It does have a bit of a spin out deal, which is why it did not get second on the list, and you know, obviously the car that did get second took its spot. This was another big battle, second and third. Whole deal here, guys, is this is one that I suggest everybody has, or at least try it out. You know, I can see how some people may not like this vehicle, but this car is worth the money, and I guarantee at least 80% of you guys are going to enjoy this car. Now I say 80% because there's just 20, maybe a few more, maybe a few less percentage of the players out there that just don't like this car because they choose to run number 2 on the list. The Rapid GT is, well, it's the king of consistency, as RWD Media himself has called it, correct? And I do have to concur with that. It certainly is the king of consistency, and it is, how do you say it? Is it the easy drift car? That's not really the way of saying it, because it's a car you work your way up into getting into, but it's all well-rounded to be the ideal drift car in GTA. Oh, it's Aston Martin. Yeah, it is. It definitely is. Are you going to see it on a real-world drift track? No, probably not. Maybe you could at some point in time, but it's just not likely. It's not traditional, and I understand that. But then I'm dealing with comments, well, actually, he only drifts Mercedes-Benz and Aston Martins. He's not JDM. It's like, do you not realize that GTA limits me? If I could drift around an S15 all day on GTA, dang right I would, alright? So that's why I like the Comet Retro. That's why I like the Karen 190Z. The Ducati Rapid GT I also like, but for different reasons, and that's because it definitely is that king of consistency, quote unquote. Now, if you haven't gathered what number 1 is on the list, nothing has really changed in my book. Even from single gear drifting into the speed boost, we have always been loyal to the Bravado Banshee 900R. At number 1 on the list is the 900R. It is the elite drift car in GTA. It is the most responsive drift car with the speed boost and engagement. It has a great slide. It has a great speed that will leave most cars in the dust, and it is awesome once you actually figure out how to keep it at an angle. Now, I'm still learning how to keep it at an angle, I must admit. It is a beast. It's a fun vehicle to practice in. I don't have a lot for the speed boost skill in it. Most of my skill in this was back in the day in the single gear drift, and I've put most of my high-speed drifting experience into the Rapid GT, and then started going into the Comet Retro. So I've been having a lot of fun in the GTA Online drifting. I've been trying to venture out into other realms as well, just simply to keep things fresh, keep things fun for the channel. And this is where the debate's going to come in. No, that shouldn't be number 1. Guess what, guys? This is my opinion, as I said in the beginning of the video. You are definitely, certainly able to have your own opinion. I'm not here trying to say not, but I am giving you a reason for everyone. This is the most well-rounded vehicle. It's not the easiest vehicle, but guess what? Drifting isn't about ease. Does the Rapid GT make drifting easier? Yes, it does. But does that make it a better drift car? No, it does not. And just say that makes it the better drift car is, I think that we're being very naive and overlooking a lot of things. The Banshee 900R, a lot of the argument is it's so touchy, it's so this and that. Have you ever just thought about just setting the other cars aside and focusing on the one car, the quickest car, the best responsive car, the one that links everything the best and has all these customizations and has the ability to make it look cool? Even has some very minor Mazda features to it on top of them Viper features. The Banshee 900R, in my opinion, there's no way around it. That is the car. Now, am I saying this is the car that you go out and drive right now? No, I made it a clear point throughout this whole video. You need to go and actually learn your way up through the steps. Do you need to? No, probably not. That's not the choice way of explaining it, but you are severely encouraged from my end to do that like I did. Start at an easier vehicle. That is what I just said, easier to drift, and you're going to get good in it. But then you're going to go to a vehicle that's harder to drift. For example, going from the Faction to the Rapid GT. the faction you're going to get really good at, or the Schwarzer, for example, going from the Schwarzer to the Rapid GT. You're going to get good in that faction or the Schwarzer. You're going to get really good. Then you're going to go in the Rapid GT, and you're going to be spinning out every single corner for a while. Hour or two in, you'll get it down. You'll start liking it. A few days, a couple weeks, you'll really be going. You'll really be competing with the rest of them. Now go in a Banshee 900R. You're going to be spinning around at every corner just like you were in that Rapid when you transferred over. That's the reality, guys. And the reality, to finish out what I'm saying here, is people just, they don't give it a chance anymore. They take something that someone said, oh, it was so good the first 2 days it was out. Well, guess what? It was only that way for 2 days. Get over it. It's this way now, and it hasn't changed at all for a long time. So it's time to just kind of face the music and realize that the Banshee 900R is not the terrible car that some people claim it to be, and on the contrary is the best, the #1 drift car in GTA Online. Hope you guys enjoyed tonight's video. I appreciate everybody tuning in, liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing them videos. If you be sharing them videos, if you're not sharing them videos, share the videos, damn it. Alright? Thank you guys. Seriously, I do appreciate it. If you can go check out that Patreon channel, keep in mind we're going to be trying to do a Patreon only little mini series